right. Yes. What's up, everybody? What's up? It's your girl Ozma the Alchemist. We are back. I know it's been a long time. We have a special guest, Anissa, here. Am I saying it properly? Is it Anissa or Anissa?
You did it correct, Anissa. You got it right.
Yes, yes, yes. She is a spiritualist. She provides a lot of services, which we're going to get into. In the description, you have her email if you want to email her for any of her services, any services she provides. Her business is called Enchanted Vibes. So I'm going to give you a chance, Anissa, to just describe who you are. Let the people know who you are.
Yes, well, my name is Anissa. I am a spiritualist. I've been reading for about 4 years now. I am self-taught, and it just came to me like I grew up Christian. So I like grew up in the church, but I've always had I've always just felt very strong pulls. I just always felt it, and had some things to happen in my life where I know that all of this is he's in control, and it's just I am here for a reason. My purpose is amongst other people's purpose. Like Asma, we have a stronger calling, as they like we hear the older generation talk about callings and things. All of those things just make sense, and it's just all connected. So who I am is who you are, and we can just get into it. We all have a little bit of each other, and if you're seeing this, it's not by any coincidence. We don't believe in those. We did at one point, but we don't believe in coincidences anymore. But yes, so that's just a little about me. I'm a Scorpio, so I got a shout out to my Scorpios. I know it's Pisces season right now, so
We
we're
all water.
a
We
little
all water.
different.
I'm a Cancer over here. We all water.
Yeah, well, a whole lot of water, sign going on, but yes,
Shout
let's
out to
do
the
it.
ill Nana. She said peace and positivity.
Yeah,
Thank you for
peace.
joining us. So, I want to get into that a little bit because you said that you started out Christian.
Yes.
How did that affect you getting into this work, and what brought you to this work?
Ultimately, it's still really the same objective for me. I still revert to Psalms, to Christians, to Christianity like practices, like they talk about, um like the New Year's just passed, just certain things that we cross over, the eating the black eyed peas, like so many things that we've already kind of been doing that I feel it was more so they talk about even people in the church, you have a testimony, you have to, there's no test without a testimony. It's just ultimately, I feel like tarot readings, things like that, they're just personalized sermons directly through a middleman, like just like church. Like it's just so I feel like for me, and I've always been an open-minded person. Like I've never been like just a super judgmental person. Like I can have friends that believe in different things. Like I'm a social worker, so I'm not as currently practicing, but I am a social worker. So it's like just my mentality, period, just who I am, just how I got into it is was right in front of my church's face, because I feel like ultimately I got my gifts when I had my daughter. I had my daughter when she was 27 weeks. And well, I was at 27 weeks. They did not think me or her would make it. Nurses and doctors literally in the elevator telling me, I was in the operating room with you. I don't know. I know you're connected to a higher power, because you like I basically they feel like they told me I died in there, and that's what I feel like they basically wanted to tell me, but they couldn't tell me is that
Wow.
I died. So, and my daughter, she was born 27 weeks, 1 pound, 3 ounces. She is 10 next month. Aries is coming up. She'll be 10 next month. And you wouldn't think that she went through anything like that. So it's like I know there's a higher calling up for me. And at that point, when I first had her, I didn't, and all this then I didn't know this then. I went through so much after having her, like, and then I got to a point that I got deep in my healing, and meditating and crystals, and it just all kind of unfolded. So I didn't ask for it. Like I literally, so anything after my daughter is just for me to tell my story and give God the glory, because we're not supposed to be here. So that's just how I feel.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I have a son. They didn't think I should have any more kids either, and I had another baby.
Ah, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. You know, so many things come through the children. You
Mm-hmm.
said you were a social worker. You know,
Yeah.
I used to do social work. So that's all like, what?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, I love it. It's funny how life could lead you to these paths, you know. Did you find that your family, did they kind of reject you doing this kind of work, or did they feel like, you know, you're going against the religion or so forth?
I've definitely been questioned. I've definitely had certain things said to me. I had to feel like I had to have debates, but really didn't. But ultimately, yes, yes, ultimately, yes. Um, not like immediate. But yeah, down the line, I'm related. I'm in a small town. I'm related to a lot of people, and if you're not my cousin, you probably know my cousin or related to my cousin or
Wow.
something like that. But so yeah, I definitely have received some backlash, knowing that certain things are being said. But I also have a lot of people that support and understand and are into it, and it's not even like into it. It's like for me, it's like just getting more closely to your roots, because a lot of things that we do, it's a lot of things that were taken from us. A lot of things that we do in spirituality is just of our ancestors, that we are just, as we heal, if it those things that we're supposed to do feel more natural to us. So I mean, I just feel like, yeah, I feel like they'll catch up.
In time, they'll get it. Right. That's how we feel it. I'm like, they don't get it now, but they'll get it in time.
And I'm
You know
still
that.
catching up, because
Yep.
I know there's people, like, I'm like I said, 4 years, like 2020, I cut the lights on, and people cut the lights on a long time ago. I was in the dark, so they'll catch
Mhm.
up. I caught up. Well, I'm still catching up, but you know what I mean.
It's the
It's the
ongoing
ongoing
journey.
look. Yeah.
We always learning and catching up.
Yeah. Yes.
Always, always. I wanted to ask, when you did your first ritual, were you afraid? Because sometimes I read it to a lot of people when they did their first ritual, they're like, "Oh, I feel kind of, I don't know if I should be doing this," but their spirit is calling for it. So it's like, you know, do it.
um, I'm not gonna say afraid, but definitely like, am I real? I still say this, like, if you would have told me I was gonna be feeling called, feeling these things years ago, I'd have been like, wait, like, what are you talking about? But it's more so like, yeah, you just have to do what's on your spirit, what's on your heart. Like, and I've even taken a step back to try to see things more in the 3D, and still, like, we're constantly getting messages, seeing things, and and it's just, it all it's like once you do it, it's like you keep doing it. You're gonna feel afraid the first time you do something, but I don't know if afraid is the word. I think it's just like out of your comfort zone. Like,
Uh-huh.
and we have to continue to do that. Like, I'm not gonna say this is outside my comfort zone, because I've been used to public speaking, and you know I deal with people on a daily basis. But I've kind of taken a step back from social media. So, um, but I'm definitely glad to be here. Like I keep telling you, I'm very grateful to be sharing space, and that you thought
Yes.
of me, for sure. At this time, it's and yes, and for clarity, the clarity that we're giving each other, and the clarity for the viewers as well. I'm
Yes.
grateful.
So, I wanted to ask, there was something else I was thinking of as you were speaking. I wanted to ask, what was it? In regards to what you do tarot that you mentioned. What
Hmm.
other services do you provide and do you offer?
I offer shadow work coaching. I
Mm,
offer event sessions or release sessions, which are more of like intuitive therapy. Not really using cards, but still kind of more on that. Uh, landscape. I do offer, general love, specific career, what's to come, twin flame. Yeah, I really offer pretty much a plethora of readings, like the main topics of readings, but I definitely want to more get some pitch more of the shadow work coaching, getting into your inner child, figuring out what has manifested in your adult life from your inner child, certain exercises we can do to heal that inner child or young 20-year-old, or which can still be a child, because things that we did in our 20s are sometimes things that was that inner child manifested into other things. Like, we have to break it down. So shadow work coaching is a service that I want to definitely, because readings, we're gonna do our readings, but we want to heal. We can always tell you, the energy, where it's flowing and what's gonna happen if you heal. But let's get into how we can really heal. Let's write letters to ourselves as this age. Let's really get to the nitty gritty of things. Let's have a conversation with that elder that and you know what? I'm going to share, because at one point I did have to understand Jesus from I know Jesus, growing up, what he was to me, but when I started getting more into my spirituality, reading Sacred Woman, reading into the Orishas and things to that effect, I had to understand what he really meant. And Jesus to me is love, simply love. It, God gave his son, we're on the cross, but so many things that we break down in the Bible, and I don't want to debate that stuff. I was gonna, excuse my language, I really don't want to debate that stuff. I just want to,
That's
it
okay.
was
You can curse on this channel. Just so you know, you can curse on this channel. I don't got no problem with it.
it really just comes down to the symbolism, because all these different religions have the same objective. We want peace, we want to input and output, and this world, the people like us who will get on these platforms and who will, be able to shine light into darker places, because we have so much more we're up against, that, we can, go to church, but that's a small range of people to, be touching, when it's so much going on and so much that is we're up against. Like, I don't know why it's coming to me, but the dark web, like, the dark web is like growing and growing. Like, technology, people, they can probably hack, and they probably hear me talking about them right now. Like, I really have taken a step back. Like, it's because we want to be on social media and spread our platform, but it's so much that we have to be prayed up against and protect ourselves from. So, and we've been taught that then, but it's like, if you know how serious it is in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual fight, like on this end, then it's like, yeah, like, yes, we do need to have churches everywhere if that's what it's going to take, but people don't understand the message if being judged, and we can offer um, a more LGBT, black, white, minority. I've read for people overseas, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a what we really supposed to have. Like, in America, everybody supposed to come together. Spirituality is that to me. It's not. It's your spirituality, like your tribe, your soul tribe. And if we all heal together, we all will be on one accord and hopefully have a better humanity. But
Right.
I want to be hopeful.
Is your Facebook page called Enchanted Vibes?
I do have one. Yes, my Enchanted Vibes is my Facebook page, and Anissa is connected to it. So yes,
Okay, I'm just putting that in the chat. So if anybody wants to reach you through your Facebook page, Enchanted Vibes. What state are you from? I hear a little accent going on.
I'm from Tennessee.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know too many people from Tennessee. I think I worked with a lady from Tennessee, and she was so down to earth, so cute. Miss Rogers. She's an older lady. She's so sweet. She was just like an auntie or a grandma, more like an auntie. And she was such
Yes,
a sweetheart.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, and that's the thing too. Like I feel like I am from Tennessee. Like a lot of, what it's kind of a lot of white people here and a lot of not so accepting of different. Um so I also feel like that too, like as well, like I mean, I have I grew up I grew up good, but honestly, I am a little country, a little sophisticated. So I feel like that also is my platform as well. I feel like I'm a hood healer. Like I still listen to trap music, and but I will switch it up, and I'm over here listening to Kirk Franklin over here next. So it's like,
Nothing wrong
and I
with
still
that. You being
listen to
you.
Maroon 5. Like I really, my playlist is bipolar. Like seriously. So yeah.
One of my friends was recently laughing about my playlist because I'll be playing. She'll turn around and she was like, "Okay, we playing James Brown now, but then we just heard Tupac, and then we are you playing what Pink
Yes.
Floyd? Now you playing Jimi Hendrix. I'll be playing
Yes,
everything, so I
yes, I love
completely
it.
get
Yes.
it. I think it's important to be versatile like that and to just, and what you were speaking about specifically with religion, I think that the Christ consciousness is more important of the message
Mhm,
from religion, getting
mhm,
to that Christ consciousness
mhm,
as a whole, and that it's not limited or reduced solely to religion. You know
mhm.
what I mean? Like you can look in so many different paradigms and, like you said, find the same exact message and
Right.
the same bottom line be a good person, bottom line be honest, bottom line no matter where you go, from
Yes.
Islam to Christianity to um Ifa to the Orishas, any of that. I wanted to ask, because you mentioned that you do shadow work coaching, so for the people who may not be familiar with shadow work, what is shadow work?
Shadow work is a point in time where you reflect on your shadow self, that part of you that you hide away, that irritates you, that irritates others, that you why did I do that? But or you push it away, feel like you blame it can be your shadow shows up in so many different ways. But shadow work is really just working on that part of yourself that you don't want anyone to know about.
Well, how important is shadow work, and how does doing shadow work help people?
Shadow work is the first step in spirituality. Is a step in forgiving yourself and understanding that you were your best self at that point in time. But when you choose to heal, you choose to educate yourself, you have to take accountability in what your shadow did. And sometimes your shadow just manifests from trauma, and you have to understand, forgive those people and just break down who you are. And because sometimes your spirit just gets fed up, it's important to do your shadow work. And I'm sorry, the second question, you said, why is it important? And I'm sorry, what was the second question?
Sorry, I'm multitasking so much. I'm trying to remember the second question.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
Important is shadow work, and
You said, why is it important? And um,
I forgot the second one. Sorry, I heard my cat. I heard his little thing, and he's kind of mad at me because I gave him a bath today. So like he's like shaking out the water, and he's like, yeah. So I'm like, where is he? Because he likes to come around when I do my stuff, but with shadow work. So let's see. We were talking about shadow work. Thank you, Shala. Shala said, "What is it and its importance?" That's the questions that
okay.
I asked. Thank you, Shala, for keeping us on track. Much love.
Yes, yes, yes. Shadow work. Yes, the importance it is really the key to your spiritual journey, because if you're doing your shadow work, you're on a constant commitment to heal. And in order to heal, you have to forgive yourself. You have to practice forgiveness. In order to give your forgiveness to anyone, you have to know what forgiveness feels like to give it to yourself. How can you forgive anyone if you haven't practiced forgiveness and know what your forgiveness feels like to forgive yourself? And so yes, and so it's so important to understand what your trauma has manifested in your shadow, and how you can use your duality, and it's part of balancing out your light and your dark. All of those things you went through are for a reason, but to use your dark side for good, you have to do the shadow work to heal, because otherwise you're going to be operating through, like a negative place, a low vibrational place. If you use your anger or your defense mechanisms when you should, then you practice your duality, because we can't always be, we always are love and light, but we also have to know when we have to defend ourselves, others, especially, and balance out our energy. So,
I was just going to ask about that because you hear a lot of people in the spiritual community talk about love and light, love and light, love and light. But
mhm,
the opposite of light is darkness.
mhm.
So, from your perspective, do we need our shadow?
Oh yes, oh
Mm.
yes, that shadow's there for a reason. But if you don't manage it properly, it can just create more turmoil. But and life's gonna have up and downs regardless. It's just being committed to learning, and letting the challenges be more easily, we more easily get through them as we keep going, So they're gonna come. Life don't get better, we get better. So.
Mhm, mhm. Also, you mentioned forgiveness. So,
Mhm.
some people say that forgiving is a cliche, but why is forgiveness from your spiritual perspective important? And is forgiveness like for the other person, like turn the other cheek, or is it forgiveness for the self? Or what is it for, and why is it important?
Oh yes, forgiveness is definitely for yourself. You definitely, um you want to give people grace, because they may not be able in that emotional IQ or in that place to know that they need to ask for forgiveness. But if you hold a grudge or hold your forgiveness from someone, you're holding power. They have a power over you. They have some uh their energy. So I want everyone on this live or that's reached anybody that you haven't forgiven, call your energy back from them. They're living off that energy, because they you mad about whatever they did, and it could hurt you very deeply. It could be a whole scale of things that they done to hurt you, or why you haven't forgiven them. But for yourself, you have to forgive. Like, it's not a cliche, because you're gonna let that harbor and be in you, and it's gonna just sit on your chest. You can keep
Mm,
pushing it and pushing it, but if you just don't forgive this person, it's still gonna be there, and it's gonna spill over into something else. And you got somebody else that you need forgiveness from, but you can't get this from forgiveness from them, because you're still trying to hold on forgiveness from somebody else. Like, it's like a life is a wheel, so you definitely just have to learn forgiveness for yourself, for others, and what it truly is. Not just, yeah, I forgive you, like really forgive that person. Like, maybe I'm gonna give you the same grace that God gives me every day.
mhm.
But some people say that, yeah, God forgives, I don't. But that's the world, that's the world. But for me, I'm like I said, everything after my daughter, me and my daughter, I give God the glory. So I'm gonna tell people to forgive.
If you don't mind me asking, when is her birthday?
April the 3rd.
April 3rd.
Yes.
Oh, she's Aries number 3.
Yes.
She's outspoken.
Very feisty. Yeah.
Very feisty, outspoken, fun loving, playful.
Mhm.
Probably loves animals.
She loves animals. She
Yeah,
loves
because of her
wolves.
birthday.
She
I do
loves
the numbers and all that stuff in my mind. So I be
Yeah,
telling people
she'll have an
personalities.
animal fact for you every day of the week.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She loves animals. All that. And when she gets older, she's gonna love children too.
Oh,
So I would be surprised if she worked with children or something when she got
yes.
older.
Okay, perfect. A little sweetie. Yeah, she's gonna be 10. I can't believe it, honestly.
Already, right?
Yes.
What a blessing. The children teach us so much.
They do.
I definitely agree with what you said about forgiveness because I remember when I used to study and be into Dr. Sebi's alkaline eating very heavy.
Mhm.
And Dr. Sebi would talk about how um, mucus calcifies in the body when it sits for a long time and we don't clear it out.
Mm.
And so I look at certain things that we go through in the human experience as spiritual mucus that
Mm.
hardens. So when you don't forgive, sorry,
Mhm.
the spiritual mucus forms a mass and becomes calcified, and it becomes harder to get past that.
Mhm.
It makes it more difficult in the journey. So it makes me think of that, the
Yeah.
spiritual mucus.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's like a cleansing. We all have to cleanse, right? You do the
Yeah.
physical cleanse, you do the
Regularly.
spiritual cleanse so
Mhm.
that your body and your organs can flow and your colon can flow the way that it's supposed to, And we don't, we start getting a little puffy, we start getting sick, our skin
Mhm.
starts breaking out, all kinds of things
Mhm.
start happening internally. And I
Yeah.
think that it's very similar because as so within, as so without, in the spirit as well, we have those calcifications that'll happen, and then your heart becomes cold, and you
Mhm.
become like Omarion, ice box where my heart used to be. The ice box is there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
You become numb, and you don't want to be
yes,
so numb that you're desensitized to nothing can hurt you, nothing can make you happy because you haven't forgiven, you're not feeling anything now. Are you living
yes.
like, you know?
Exactly, not living. And sometimes I don't think we realize that that happens to us when it happens to us until something, an experience will happen to make those feelings resurface. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could say, "Oh, I'm over that man. I'm over that man," right? But then something happens that triggers something in you,
Mm-hmm.
and then these emotions and things come out, and it's like all this residue you really haven't fully forgiven, you really haven't fully healed.
Right.
It just
Right.
comes back up. You know
Yes,
what I mean? Like a clogged
absolutely.
sink, and everything comes
Yes.
back up.
I feel like sometimes some things, some traumas, you do have to go over them a few different angles. Like you do have
That's
to.
true.
Oh, the technology updated. I do have to go back and let me update this on. Let me use the new technology on this trauma. Like I feel like with certain traumas in life, we do have to heal them from different angles. Like we're not gonna just be able to do it just one or two times. Like we're gonna yeah, it might be like you said, just a trigger. Oh, I thought it brought it all back.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, like what? I thought
Right.
I, I feel like, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
And
yeah.
it manifests itself in some unhealthy ways when we don't deal with it. The
Mhm.
next thing you know, a lot of times I find that trauma, people start to internalize it,
Mhm.
especially if it's childhood trauma, kind of like children internalize things when they don't understand what's happening in the world.
Mhm.
So like people start to internalize the trauma and take it out on themselves, and it'll turn into different ways in a person, the selfish side of a person, or um, because they feel like they have to, they're afraid that something is going to be taken away from them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes.
Or it'll manifest itself in emotional eating, any many different ways that it manifests itself. So yeah, it's kind of, healing is a hell of a journey. And I like what you
Yes.
said about you having to attack it different ways, because
Mhm.
sometimes you can't just heal doing just one thing. You got to hit it like 2, 3 times. Try this way.
Mhm.
And then there's levels to it depending on how deep the trauma is and how deep it goes.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Anybody in the chat have any questions you would like to ask Anissa? Type it away. Type it away. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, Anissa.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. My pleasure for sure. Thank
I
you
like
for
that art.
platform. Thank
No
you.
problem. I was looking at it like, is that art? It says enchanted vibes in it because I see part of it, but I don't see the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes, it's
Yay!
right.
I love it.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
we have a question. Shala wants to know, how do we begin shadow work?
How do you begin shadow work? Well, you can Ask certain questions to yourself. It just depends. What do you want to work on? You can ask yourself, what are you insecure about today? You can, it's just really asking yourself those tough questions. Um, but yes, that's how you start shadow work. I can honestly suggest, if you're a Pinterest person, there are plenty of shadow work prompts on there. If you want to start out, if you're not comfortable touching base, but if so, please reach out to me. But I definitely want to, push healing regardless. If you're interested in starting shadow work, please reach out. If not, like I said, I don't know if you're a Pinterest person, but I trust Pinterest. And there are certain questions on there that are deep. So I think that's one way. And if
And she also wanted to know, how do you know when you're ready?
How do you know when you're ready?
Hmm.
Honestly, that's a great question, because I don't think, I mean, you're gonna cry, you're gonna break. It's gonna be a point. You're gonna unravel. That's the point of it. So if you're ready to really unravel, there's gonna be some nights you ugly crying. I'm talking about, but don't nobody gotta know. But you can call me. So but it's gonna be some nights, so that's how you know that you're ready. You really ready to face yourself. Or if you've already had those type of nights and you don't know why, you just crying and ugly crying and thinking. If you've already had those type of nights, you're ready for shadow work. Your spirit is fed up.
I know that's right. Can we touch a little bit on the a dark night of the soul? Because I think sometimes people go through a dark night of the soul and they don't really know, like, that they're going through what it is. It's just like, you go through that depression and you're like, ah,
Yes.
you're crying all the time, like, ah.
Yes, the dark night of the soul, those intrusive thoughts where you just can't stop the intrusive thoughts. And intrusive thoughts are just negative self-talk. Um, we get so in the routine of, you know, coaching ourselves, but in a negative way. And after we do that for so long, we put ourselves in the dark night of the soul. We think that we're like, we're just kind of going in the motions of things, but still not really connecting or making positive energy exchanges. Like we will, you kind of just, how you encounter people and they just kind of, give you, it's not like we want their energy or anything. It's just, we know when certain people are just blocked off. Like they're just, okay, yeah, and you get certain people like, all right, thanks. They still, it's energy, especially when you make yourself more sensitive to spirit. Things are gonna just hit you even harder. Like certain things you're gonna feel people differently when you make yourself more sensitive to spirit. People who have hardened themselves to other people and hardened themselves to forgiveness and anything lighthearted, um, you're gonna sense them because they're so desensitized. You're gonna sense them. So I always kind of veer off. We were talking about the dark night of the soul.
Yes, that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So yes, the dark night of the soul is just more so just kind of going through the motions, and you know that something is not right, but you're just avoiding it. But you just you keep masking it with whatever. But the truth is, in life, we're emotional people. We have to have a control on it because we have to be professionals. We have to be, in authority and role models, whatever you do. But ultimately, we are emotional people. And, when you're around people who understand that, like, you come around people like, oh, if you're feeling off, you're having an emotional day, I totally get it, because we get it. But some people who are so like, they don't think that other people are humans, they're not going to treat you like you're a human. They're going to, you know, they're going to be in that dark night of the soul, just kind of not realizing the energy they're putting out. So, and that's the important thing with shadow work. You don't realize how your shadow is following you. And it's just important to have the duality, because there's nothing wrong with taking a step back, being reserved, because in situations we don't always want to draw attention to ourselves, things in that nature. But we also know that energy is forever flowing.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
thank you so much. Is there anything else? Any other questions anyone has, or anything, Anissa, that you would like to share with the crowd at this time?
um, Anything I would like to share? I just, like I said, I just appreciate you sharing space, and anybody that does reach out or want to, please do. Like I said, just continue to stay strong and balance out that dark and that light.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Don't forget to contact Anissa. It's in the description as well as in the chat, her email. Email her. Also, follow her on Enchanted Vibes on Facebook, so you can get a reading from her, or so you can do some shadow work with her, some shadow work coaching, and just get into some of the services that she provides. Thank you all for
Thank
listening. Thank you all for your time, your positive energy. Thank you, Anissa, for being my beautiful guest
you
and
so much
coming
for having
through. No problem. I know you're
me.
tired, sis, because you done worked. I know how it is. But
Appreciate
enjoy the rest of your evening. Get some
you. Do the
sleep, hug the
same.
babies, and enjoy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Talk to you soon.
No problem, you guys. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Take
Good
care.
night.
Good night.